Welcome, everybody, to the Transatlantic Wrestling Talk Show. This is Dale coming at you live with no Andy. We're not here with Andy today. In fact, I have somebody a little bit more special, and I think he'll even admit that too. So, without further ado, I want to introduce you a legend in the world of
Mm.
professional wrestling. Yes, you are a legend.
Legend in
Madusa.
my own mind.
No,
Yes.
you are,
Woohoo!
please, you are a legend. Every time that we've watched pay-per-views with you in there, we talk about you with the highest regard. So Madusa, I want to thank you for actually taking some time to talk with us here and to talk about, what really is at hand. I think in the following April, we're going to hear a little bit more about you because the main topic that we want to talk about today is an autobiography you're coming out with. Um,
Mm.
there's a lot to ingest from this. Now, reading a little bit of blurbs as far as what's going on in your world and what's happened in your world, I love just it's fascinating to me what's going on and what you have to tell the world. Go into exactly what you wanted to say.
Well, what really goes on in someone's life, right? No one knows what really goes on behind the closed doors. Or sometimes people don't know what one has been through their career. I mean, when you ask about my career, it's just not over yet. It's like I've had 20 years of active pro wrestling, and then 20 years of pro wrestling, and 20 years of monster trucks, and then you combine that with 40 years plus and still active, doing things intermittently with WWE and doing some things with monster trucks. So the abuse to the body is retired, but not so much of the business sense of itself. So it's really great to be active and to be called back and asked to do things like with NXT. When I get that call from Shawn Michaels, he's like, "Hey, what are you doing? Do you think you want to be a part of this? I think this is what we're doing." I'm like, "Oh God, hell yeah!" I love the NXT. It's so vibrant. It's so on fire. It's such a great platform for the kids today. Of course, my generation and thereafter really didn't have a platform like that. You get to get paid to train. I mean, who does that? Who gets chosen and get put under contract and get paid and do tryouts? Um, Not too many places. So this is absolutely a wonderful. I mean, the performance center at WWE is impeccable. Just being there for the NXT TV taping that I did, and I got to see all the new talent coming up. They're on fire. Now we have a whole new group of kids coming in, and they have zero wrestling background, like no knowledge, no wrestling experience, never took a bump, nothing. And they're starting these athletes out raw. So there's two things. There's a way to think about this. They chose this path to see how this would go because you want raw talent that is talented, that is driven from a career that they already know what that drive and what it takes to become a champion, right? And that way they get them raw and fresh where they can mold them into what they already need. So you get people out there that's been in the business for, whatever, however long. Basically, it's not that you're polluted, but you're already set in your ways in some way, right? It's hard to break old habits. So I think this age of wrestling and what they're doing with this new talent is going to be very exciting. So keep your eyes open. Um, you know, when you do interviews, you can sit there and talk about, oh my gosh, I'm from Minnesota, I'm this girl, and raised this way, I have this type of family, and it was blah blah blah, and it becomes redundant.
Of
So,
course.
what can I tell you? I think what I will experience with you and your listeners is that when I think let's focus on what um what goes on behind the scenes, because not too many people realize what our life is really like behind the scenes. Now that the internet, the social media is an army, and it's very powerful, and it almost can make and break somebody's career. You can get canceled in a heartbeat, or you can overcome something, but it takes a long time to do that. Um, so it's almost like walking on eggshells, and it's like living two different lives almost, because you want to be yourself, but you're also this character, and people play the character on social media, and but yet you're still yourself. So I'm at the point in life where at that age where I don't give a shit, because I've already lived, breathed, ate, done everything. And not that I don't care, and I do respect the business immensely, but if I say something that is like deliberate, that offends somebody, it's not that I plan to do that. That means that you're offended because you're uncomfortable with it. And that's something you're going to have to deal with. And because if I make my opinion, it's my opinion, not for you to tell me I'm wrong and tell me I have to change, right? So living that way nowadays and behind the scenes is very challenging. And I'm not saying just because of my era and where I'm at in life. I mean, I'm in my 50s, so
A young
even the young
50s, a young 50s.
a young 50s. Oh my God. Oh, thanks. But anyway, even the young kids, I mean, they're feeling this too. So it's almost a tit for tat, like you're walking on eggshells almost, because you want to be able to voice and say something what you really mean. But then before you push that button and you send it out on social media, you have to think two or three times before you send it. And my key is to people is, if you have to think two or three times, that means don't send it.
Yep.
If
Yeah.
it's just not a natural and you're comfortable with it, like, hey, yeah, that's me, I'm sending it, whatever, and you don't have the legs to stand on to protect yourself with something you send out there, you better have somebody that is actually managing your social media to take control of it then, because that is definitely going to either hijack your career in a way that is not pleasant, or it's going to be okay. So going on behind the scenes is, as you notice, the older talent that are legends, or retired, or that really don't get the what do you say, recognition, or they don't get the interviews or whatever, right? Like they should. You don't see them out on social media as much. I'm very active on social media, and I'm very comfortable with myself, how I project. There are certain topics I stay away from, and I know what works, what doesn't. If I'm feeling frisky, I'll push the envelope a little bit.
Nothing wrong with
But
that.
no, no, no. It's not that I'm out to get somebody or hurt somebody or anything like that, or a situation. But it's all in the moment. So, not that I'm always in character, but I think what goes on behind the scenes with talent and entertainers is that people feel like they know us, because
Mhm.
sometimes we put something out there, we may like something that they say, then automatically they think that, oh my God, we're friends, and I know this person, and I can say this, I can do that. But there is a base, and there's a limit to where you cross that line or you don't. There's always those super fans, there's always those special fans, and you've just out of 40 years of entertainment, I've learned that you just don't, you don't cross that line
Mhm.
with certain situations, because it can turn very, very bad. Um, Also behind the scenes is that I've always, since day one, kept my personal life personal. And if I feel like I want to share a picture with my husband and I, then I do. But if you go back on all of my, yeah, I say social media because that's how that's how we market ourselves. That's how you're marketing. That's how we're doing this interview, right? And so when I put something out on social media, it's because I choose to put something out on social media.
Mhm.
I've got a team behind me, in fact, and we schedule everything to go out. But if something's hot on the topic, we'll put something out in addition, right? I didn't mean to take over the whole interview, so I
Oh,
could talk.
this is great. No, no, no. And I appreciate that. And I think that one thing that people do need to realize is that there are people that manage social medias. Okay. So I'm sure there's a conversation, might be small, that is brought upon you saying, look, I want to tweet about this, or I want to post about this, or whatever. How does that conversation get started between you and your team?
Mm. So, okay, so what we do is we sit down and we plan a whole month out. So everything that you see that's on my social media is already planned a month prior. So we really have to dig like way in advance and have to be ahead of the game, really, and the trends of what's happening.
Yeah.
Because, and so if that's what I mean when I said earlier that if something happens and it's a hot topic, then we go ahead and add something for that day. It's hot off the press right there, whatever. But yeah, everything is already pre-scheduled pretty much. But there are some live things that I'll go out there. Like if I'm on the road, I'll go on live on Instagram. I'll be like, "Hey, I haven't done this a long time. How you guys doing?" And it feels real personable because the fans get to click on and they see you. They get to ask questions. I usually don't answer questions right off there. I try, but I'm blinded. I mean, I got to have my readers on. And when I'm working out, I don't have my readers with me. So I can't read the freaking questions. Now I'll take my phone and tilt it and squint, and then I'll probably get to, answer a few questions that way. But yeah,
But they don't want
but
to say
other than
they
that,
don't want to see it. They don't want to see a chink in the armor of Medusa. I get it.
whatever. Um, so what else? Something different for your interview would be like, when us legends get together, there's like total respect, and I see how a lot of them have grown up and they've really gone into their own as people and characters, not characters, as personalities. Like I've known a lot of them,
Mhm.
when they were just starting out and kids, like Shawn Michaels. Okay, he was a dick. He was an absolute dick when he was younger, right? I mean, it's
I'll
a
get
known
to
fact.
I'll get to him because I have something that we bring up pretty
It's
often,
just,
but it's
I mean, he was horrible. He was a mean person and he wasn't likable. He was cocky and stuff. But to see him where he's at now today and how he has grown into this wonderful man and overcome his adversities and chose, his I think he chose God and religion and stuff, and that works for him. So that works. Where a lot of people will bash him because he found God, and I'm like, well, who the hell are you? I mean, what do you do that you is so perfect? You know what I mean? If this
it
works for
made him a better
somebody,
person. Yeah.
yeah, it made him a better person. Then trust me, you don't want the old Shawn Michaels around. You want this person, right? So yeah, and I feel comfortable, comfortable working with him, and he's very kind to me. I know, his plate is full at NXT, and he's doing a fabulous job too.
It's not like you guys don't have the mind for this business, though. Let's be honest here. I mean, it's not like people need to realize that there's so many different avenues to go down, just as far as a conversation goes, just not only
Yeah.
for character development, but also to lay out a match too. I mean, to me, I look at it and I hear about wrestlers that don't want to take advice from other people, and that's fine and all. But to go out and say that and kind of be insulting when somebody actually wants to help you out, to elevate yourself from a job. My job, I work in the finance industry. If I'm
Oh
learning
boy.
something, yeah,
Yeah.
if I'm learning something, I have no problem reaching out. If somebody says, "Hey, look, you could have done this differently," I will go up to them. I did it
Like,
today.
oh
I
yeah,
asked
what
him.
was it? What can I do to, improve myself? What was the subject matter that you felt that, I could have, did differently? I love video games. I'm on Twitch, dude. I am a gamer. Are you a gamer at all?
Unfortunately, no. It's weird.
Uh,
Like I do enjoy it. Like I enjoyed it because my motor skills and everything I learned from that. But I was a hefty kid growing up, so I ended up joining sports and ended up being, I guess you could say, somewhat more physical. And
Well,
before
me
COVID,
too. I didn't become a gamer really well back in the 80s before you were born, whatever. I was playing Pac-Man, like the, little game, the big old chunky computers and whatnot, and Centipede and all of that stuff. But then fast forward, then life took over and I became this wrestler and monster truck driver. And then during the pandemic, I'm like, what the hell you do? So I bought this huge PC system with all these monitors and whatnot. And I had some friends, help me. And I opened up my laptop and I had my camera on and they're telling me what to do and how to put my tower together and all my gaming equipment and all that shit. And so for 2.5 years, I've been gaming through the pandemic.
So what are you playing?
Oh my God, everything. I mean, I love scary horror flick type of games too.
Hmm.
And then a lot of shooting games, one person games. We really cater to our fans. So there's like tier 1, 2, and 3s. So the tier 3s really get a lot back. So they get like a free digital signed photo. Tier 2 does, and a tier 3 gets a signed digital photo, and they get a voicemail so they can use it on their phone saying, hey, this is Deuce. I'm going to kick your ass if you don't have blah, 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 whatever they use it for, right? And then tier 3s, we just now put our podcast, 5 Minute Mondays Paving the Way,
Cool.
podcast on all the podcast platforms. We just went live on Twitch. So we record our podcast on Twitch, and then we have a guest once a month. And then we have this guest, and then all of our tier 3s have the opportunity to go live with our guest. So it brings in Twitch and
That's
our
cool.
podcast and everybody, and they get to ask them live questions. So we have Mick Foley this December 3rd.
A fellow
Um,
Long Islander. Very nice.
what is it? North Pole, New Mexico. This is where he's from, is what he says. So we're going to talk about Christmas and, his whole background and why he loves Christmas. And oh yeah, this will be a lot of fun.
He's a festive one. He's a festive Long Islander that makes us proud here.
Long Islander.
Long Island.
Long. He said long.
Long. Well, I tried. Remember, you're on Long Island. You're not in Long Island when you come here.
Oh,
So you
that's right. You're on.
That's right. So question, basically, just, and by the way, did you enjoy Terrifier yet?
Terrifier?
Yeah.
What?
The
What do you
horror
mean?
movie. The horror movie Terrifier.
I haven't seen it, believe it or not. I know. And then there's a really scary one called Santa. What is it? Santa. What the hell is it? I don't know. There's a Christmas one.
Not Santa's Sleigh with Goldberg, right?
No, that was horrible. Sorry, Goldberg, but that one stunk. It was horrible. That was horrible.
It was
horrible. Yeah.
All right, no more Goldberg questions on that one. So
yeah,
you brought up before how you were how people are getting paid for training, and when you started, you were kind of being a nurse and then aspiring to go into wrestling. So wrestling back then and being a nurse is a lot different than being a wrestler now and being a nurse. Do you agree?
Well, yeah. So I was mending bones and then I ended up breaking bones. So anyway, I left. I didn't finish nursing school, went straight into wrestling, and then here I am, right? So no, I was on my own, had my own car, my own place, and nice little savings. And then I got into wrestling. And then for 3 years, I never got paid. And when I did get paid from Sharky, it was like $5. And I depleted my funds. I got kicked out of my place. I got my car repossessed, and I was basically out on the street. Jesus. And I was like, I came this far, like, what the hell are you doing? I had to come to Jesus talk, like, what are you doing? Well, I'm not quitting because I came this far, right? So I continued, and then I got a call from AWA, and that transpired. And then I got my big chance when Chigusa Nagoya came over to the States, and then they asked me to go to Japan. Went to Japan for those 3 years, which is remarkable. Hit rock bottom again because the management team I hired, basically took all my money, and I didn't have anything again, had to come back to the States. And then, I was really good. I was really good to wrestling. Wrestling was never good to me. I mean, but I kept going and kept going. Now, I'm not saying people weren't, there was intermittent people that were good and promoters were wonderful, but the business, I mean, it was just a rotten business to be in. But I
Yeah.
kept going. I don't know where I found the strength or the will, but I think it was being this child of fight or flight, and I was always looking around and seeing, okay, what I had to do to survive. And that's basically what kept me going. And I was, I always scared to death, because I didn't want to, we were just, you know, didn't have much. Let's just put it that way. You'll have to read it. It's all in the book.
Of course.
Um, and some of the stories in there is tragedies to triumphs. It's just amazing, how I just look at myself today and think, how in the hell am I not, how in the hell did I not have a pill problem, or became an alcoholic, or how in the hell didn't I become, just how did I get so lucky to be so still positive and driven and still on top of my game? A very few. If you notice, like most of the girls in my era that I had programs with are not with us anymore.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, I could have been a statistic, but I mean, something kept me going. And it was the fear of just, oh, not having, not, I just didn't want to be like I was growing up as a kid. And that's what basically drove me to where I'm at today.
Thank you for that. So, do you think that or your dependency on that was performing in the ring?
I think it was an outlet because I got to perform, and I was always as a child, I was always wanting attention because I never got it. I'd never had a father. My mother was basically never around. She should have never had a child.
Hmm.
And so I was always wanting attention from people because a child, that's what they want. They need attention. You nurture this child, you hold it, you gather, you send it to its direction where it needs to go and let them figure it out. But I mean, I never was told how to build anything, never was told how to build blocks, you know what I mean? And just never was told or shown how to be a woman growing up, and all the life's, you know, intermittent faults and highs and lows, and it was just heartbreaking. And I mean, I was never shown how to cook or how to, none of this stuff. Like, a child is raised with a parent, even if it's one parent, at least that. But um, she, all I can say is, without throwing her under the bus, is that she did the best she could, but she never should have had a child. And I think I used that strength, all of that, is just knowing that I am not going to be this when I'm older. And I just kept running. And as far as getting into the ring, I used that as performing and entertaining as attention because I never got it, I think. And so I guess, that was a big part of it because I got to be something, and I got to wear this mask. I mean, I didn't literally wear a mask, but and be this actor, you know?
Hmm. Yeah. It
Wait till you
definitely.
read the book. The book is incredible. I'm with the publishing company ECW.com, the press, ECW Press, and I've been writing this book for over 40 years, and I've tried to write it like 3 attempts, and it just wasn't the right time. It's like, okay, no, it's something just didn't feel right, and I just didn't put it out each time. But this time was right. It was the right timing. And getting together with ECW Press through John Arezzi. John Arezzi was a promoter way back in
We've
the
had him
day.
on the show. We've had him on the show,
John
Tom.
Arezzi is amazing. I mean, he's a good friend of mine. I was on his tour through the Philippines, Hong Kong. Great stories there. Oh my God. And um, yeah, I just, I don't know. I can go on. But anyway, the
It's
book
We're
is
excited.
amazing. I don't throw anybody under the bus. It's not about that. It's not about 5 seconds of fame of, hey, I said this about somebody. I even changed the names of some people because people change, and a lot of people change for the better. And later in life, they have families, they have children. And some of these things, if some of these things I were to come out and address them to the person who it is, it could ruin families. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I'm not here to protect them because they were wrong what they did in the past. So my story is about my adversities and what I had to do and what I chose to do and how I did it to get through it with all of these bad people and their shenanigans, their bullshit.
Yeah.
Um,
I
and
think
believe me, it's a book that'll it'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry, it'll piss you off, and then you'll be like, "Fuck yeah!" It'll be so awesome.
motivates.
And yeah, yeah, it's a motivation book. Yes.
That's awesome. Look, I think that, you know, the whole name changing thing, it does help, but the people who read it will know, I would
I mean,
assume.
I guess. I mean, some people put two and two together, and they're, and hopefully they'll say, that was cool, not mentioning or, whatever. And the thing is this, the people know what they did. They know what their intentions were. Before you do something, you already have it in your head and what you want out of it as a
Hmm.
person, right? So wrestling wasn't very nice at all, and the men were not nice to the women, you know? And so um there are stories that I will take to my grave and nobody will ever know. It's just that's the way it is because it's just, I mean, it's nasty.
Hmm.
And I just, it's not something you harp on and you hold a grudge or whatever. But I want this book to let people know, hey, I did go through this. And I did find a different avenue. I chose to do this, and this is how I did it. So maybe you can learn from my experiences because there are things like this that are still happening today that will always continue to happen, unfortunately. And people will pick and take, from the book and learn from it and, use it for their own.
No, I appreciate that. And I don't think there's ever a wrong time to let people know about trials and tribulations that you've been through.
Mm-mm,
But I do feel
mm-mm.
that the people that will hear it will vary. Who do you want to
Yeah.
hear? Who do you not only want to hear it, but also to listen to what you're saying?
So my book isn't just for wrestling or monster trucks. This book is for Kate Hudson. This book is for Joe Blow down the street. This is for the mother next door. This is for her daughter growing up. You know what I mean? It's for every wrestler, every monster truck driver, every racer, every entertainer. People are going to relate.
Of
And if
course.
if they pick up this book and they don't even know who I am, and just by the cover and the name of the book, The Woman Who Would Be King, the Madusa story. I mean, I am the king of my castle
Of course.
and I have overcame everything and I made it. You know what I mean?
Of course. Absolutely. No. And it's funny because I see your publisher is ECW Press and the foreword is by Paul Heyman.
The
So
forward is by Paul Heyman. Yet one of my dearest friends, one of my best dearest friends, and we've been in the business together, over 35 years or so, right?
been a long time.
And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have had a lot of the opportunities or even be here sitting talking to you if it wasn't for Paul and a lot of things. And you'll read some of the stories in there. And when I asked him to do the forward, and he immediately didn't even think, he's like, consider it done. Absolutely. He goes, I
It's
love you.
amazing.
And I'm like, I love you too, Paul, man. And that was like, hey, thanks. That
It's good
says a
al
lot.
it's a good ally to have, especially for how long.
Well, it's not so much an ally. It's, if anything, I know this. If something ever happened to me and I had a phone call and I needed to call one person in the business, he would be it.
Wow. Wow.
He would
When
be there in a heartbeat.
when did you first meet him?
1980s.
Okay. I should say where.
Yeah, AWA,
Okay. At one of the China Club parties?
China Club.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. No. Where's the party? Where's the place that he would go to? And
I can't tell you Paul's secrets.
Oh, no, 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 not at all. But I do know that he enjoyed some of the lifestyle here in Manhattan. One thing I want to touch base on is me personally. I first learned about Reiki medicine about 20 years ago. Okay.
Reiki.
Reiki. I
Hmm.
apologize. See, that shows how much I know
Hey,
about it.
that's all right. That's all right. It's self-healing, self-power, oh my gosh. It's amazing.
So, okay. Now, with that, why do you
Hmm.
think alternative medicine is never considered as the medicine?
I feel that alternative medicine is the alternative medicine, just what it says. Do you hear what I'm saying? Alternative medicine. Alternative medicine. Why don't we just call it what it is? It's an herb. It's healing. It's the root of our Mother Earth. It's things that have been there before our time. It's been used and been studied and been proven on so many levels of overcoming, curing, and maintaining. And I feel that alternative medicine is not mainstream media because there's not a lot of money to be made off of it, pharmaceutical wise. Now, hear me out because I am not a pill popper. I mean, it's hard for me to take an Advil or an aspirin, I don't get high. I use CBD products because Curable is the company
Ooh.
I'm with. Oh, it's great. Curable. Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk on the other side and get you some
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But I can't, I get so paranoid. I tried getting high one time and I was like scared. I was scared to death. I was sitting there thinking, oh my God, someone's coming to get me. Oh, but I'm not a person because I'm like type A personality and I'm like, "Brrr," and I have to be in control if you haven't noticed already. Whatever. So
It's a
anyway,
good thing.
alternative medicine has been my answer in so many things. I love arnica with pain. You got to learn about arnica and the mixture of it and tinctures and how to do it and how to regulate the pain. And I mean, there's so much, so much about it. Alternative medicine and today's Western medicine need to come together because if they could work together, I mean, we wouldn't have any sick people, but then a lot of them think, then how do we make the money, right? um have you ever heard of Dr. Sebi?
Yes,
S
but not.
Sebi. If y'all go look him up, a lot of amazing, just look him up, and he is on point with a lot of his um alternative medicines, let's put it that way. You wait till you read about in a lot of his stuff. Yeah. Now there's some books out there with Dr. Sebi and uh, that I think have been redone, and they've redacted a lot of his stuff. So it's not out there. So you have to dig deep because he was on point. I mean, he found a lot of cures for a lot of things. Kind of like the guy when he could actually run a car on water, and then all of a sudden he showed up dead 2 weeks later. I mean, come on.
He got I was gonna say Epstein, but there you go. Anyway.
He got Epstein. Yeah. Yeah. Oops.
Wait, so why would they redact though if they found it as true?
Because of the control of the pharmaceuticals and stuff. They just, they're trying to, I think Biden passed a law where I don't know if it's, I don't know what the number is, 104 to whatever the hell it is, where they're trying to control the herbal medicines and the alternative medicines where you can't because they're plants. And this is where they've been butting heads so much. So now they kind of pass a law where if you take something and you sell it, it's like going to become illegal, or I don't know. It's going to be, they're trying to make it more difficult for people to sell vitamins, basically.
It's ridiculous.
It is because I mean it's healthy, don't they preach about how they want you to healthy, but yet they want you to take a Zoloft or whatever. You know what I'm saying? This is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it got to a point once where I wanted to do something, and my doctor was just like, "Oh, here's some Zoloft. Just take this." And I was like, "This has nothing to do with this." Yeah, but the side effect helps. And I'm like, "No, I'm time to go to a new doctor." That's exactly what happened.
Every pill that a doctor gives you has major side effects, major side effects. And that's why I said Western medicine and alternative naturopath doctors could work together very well, because Western medicine is excellent. Our doctors here, like I have a total knee replacement. I have a total knee replacement. And the first one I got done, 4 months later, it broke. And they had to go right back
Ooh.
in there on the same knee. Like I could have got, oh, so many bad things could have happened. But on my second total knee replacement with the Dr. Palumbo here, that he does a lot of the football players and whatnot, he's excellent, excellent down in Tampa. And I was, a year later, I ran my first 5K on my total knee replacement. I mean,
Really?
that's,
Wow.
yeah, that's how good it was. And they gave me, well, that's major pain. So with their pain meds and with the alternatives I was taking, I was on pharmaceuticals for 3 days after my surgery, and I was off.
It's amazing.
That's
It's amazing.
crazy. My pain
Yeah.
tolerance is probably a little bit higher than most, which is dangerous at times. But I weaned myself off in 3 days and went into alternative medicine. It's just, oh, it just impeccable.
It's incredible to hear, especially a
Mhm.
turnaround time like that. You know,
And
and
then
we
with
were,
Recce, me being a Recce and going to Japan and going to the main Kyoko, is it Kyoko? Oh, what the hell is the name of that mountain? There's a place in Japan where Reiki actually was originated from. And cheerleader Melissa, she's a wrestler. Cheerleader Melissa and I went there in Japan and went up to this place and where the Reiki place originated. And so even like when I had my total knee replacement, I was like doing my, my Reiki healing on myself, because you can, if you have that, if you're a Reiki master and you know all the, stuff, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
it's amazing.
I
She's
could
in
talk
and
hours and hours about it.
well, it's interesting to me because it is needed. Now, she's part of NWA, is that correct?
No, no, cheerleader Melissa, no. She was working with Stardom with Rossi Ogawa. It's the female
Oh, okay.
Japanese organization. So this was like 5 years ago.
Okay.
She was over in Japan. She hit me up. She's like, you got to get a hold of Ogawa-san. So Ogawa was working with All Japan Women's Pro Wrestling when I was in Japan in 1988, 88, 89, 90. He was just like one of the guys in the office, and he was my go-to back then. And then all of them, all the Matsunaga brothers died. All Japan Women's Pro Wrestling kind of closed. And then fast forward all these years, 30 years later, I got a hold of Ogawa, and he had me come over, and I became the commissioner of Stardom through Ogawa-san. And Melissa was there, so her and I went over to that mountain where we studied the Reiki.
Now, I must say this, okay, and a lot of people don't really that our listeners, they're not too familiar with Stardom. I don't think people understand how hard hitting and powerful these people are.
Oh, it's
Who
crazy. Oh my
who's on the
God.
lookout for you? Who's somebody that you really think is just
Well, okay, so if no one knows, all I'm going to say is look up Stardom, Stardom, right? Stardom. And I think JWP, the men's organization, Rossi just sold it to them in 2021. And JWP now works and owns Stardom. You want to talk about legit hitting, legit wrestling, legit flying, contact, holy shit moments. I mean, look at these women. So those
impressive.
women from Stardom was my style back in 1988. That's what I was doing. So if you go back and look at my old stuff, All Japan Women's Pro Wrestling, Stardom and All Japan Women's Pro Wrestling was the same, except those were the 80s. These are the 2000s. It's incredible.
Do you think that you really perfected that or tried to exemplify that here in the States with somebody like Bull Nakano or Aja Kong?
I needed to. So when I went to Japan, I was very green, and I was very fortunate to be even picked. Out of, hundreds of girls, Chigusa Nagoya chose me to go to Japan for 3 years. And I knew this was a place and a time for me to hone my craft. And I did just that. I didn't have anything, as you heard my stories as a kid growing up and no brothers, sisters, blah, blah, blah.
And we'll read about it.
And you're going to read about all of
That's
that.
right.
And I just picked up and left and went to Japan for 3 years. Like, why not? I don't have anything to lose. So I knew that being there for 3 years, that fast forward, I needed to reinvent Madusa going back to the States. And because every 2 years, the fans kind of change and shift in pro wrestling. There's always new ones, and they come and go basically in that big lump sum every 2 years or so. So going back to the States, I knew that I was so Japanese that I had to adapt back to the American style. And when I went back to the States with all of my Japanese style and trying to put American back in it, I was like, people are like, who the hell is that? Holy crap. Holy crap. Holy shit. And so I was just like, I was contact hitting, boom, laying it in. I was like, come on, and just like, what the hell? Get up, you pussy. Come on,
Yeah.
if you're going to hit me, hit me. And I wasn't there to hurt anybody, but I was into making it believable, because my thing was, if I'm going to be a wrestler, damn it, back in the States, and looking at the women, I'm saying they ain't taking us serious. They're still not taking women serious. So if I'm going to go back, I'm going to wrestle like a dude, and I'm going to wrestle as my style, and I am going to gain respect, and I am going to do it my way. So I went back to the States and changed the trajectory of women's wrestling, and yeah, holy crap. And then kind of went through the women, through WWF at the time, WCW, and there was very little women, and I had to bring over Japanese, and that's when Bull Nakano came over, and we had our awesome run.
Yeah. And we premiere that and we highlight that. We went into Survivor Series 95. How you, that to me, that was one of my favorite pay-per-views ever. Because I love the fact that how Rhonda Singh just kind of rolled out and then she was just like, all right, I'm pinned, I'm done. But that's to me. But then, you selling a backhand to Aja Kong.
Dude, I got my bell rung so many times in this fucking business. It's just like, oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God. What was I thinking? Oh yeah, that's right. I love it.
Yeah. And it's funny you bring that up. So a couple months ago on our show, we reviewed In Your House 3. So this is around like 95, 96. Mm-hmm. And Andy and I looked at through the Transatlantic Wrestling Talk podcast. We saw you come out and you were promoting a t-shirt for the event. And we sit there and said, this is the sad state of affairs at this point in time in wrestling. I said, as of right now, this is the world champion actually coming to the ring and she's promoting t-shirt. That's it. You're not going to see any other mention of anything else here. Maybe Sunny, but that's it. There's nothing else. But that's a different type of cat right there, especially with what she was brought in to do. How was dealing with her, if you had any dealings?
Who's that? Sunny?
Yeah.
Sunny was here's the thing with Sunny. She was amazing. Sunny was good at what she did. Sunny had control of that microphone, and I'm telling you, if she could have continued and did that, I could see her today on the mic. Oh my God. If she perfected it and just continued, she could have been a hell of a manager. Some type of stable leader or something, because she was good on the microphone. She had an aura and an attitude about her that we've never seen before. We had Miss Elizabeth, but she really didn't speak, right? No. We had Scary Sherry, but that was kind of different, right?
Still lovable.
And then you had Sunny. It was like holy sex symbol, sassy little bitch, and she carried her own. I met Sunny for the first time when Sherry Martel and I were going head to head, and her and I were going to actually wrestle in ECW, and we were getting ready. And then all of a sudden I got that call to go to WWF, and I couldn't do it. And I wanted to go wrestle for Paul so bad. That was my goal. I always wanted to go to ECW, and I was ready to with Sherry Martel, and her and I cut a promo like you wouldn't believe. It's out there on YouTube somewhere. And
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. And I think that's in my book too, all that stuff. And then yeah, a lot of great stories. You want, oh my God.
I can't
And
wait to
so
see that.
I was at a signing then, and that's where Sherry and I hit our promo, and we got it on camera for ECW. And that's the first time Sunny was there. So I have a picture of Sunny and I the very first time I met her way back then in 92, maybe 93, 2. And she was sitting there so sweet, no makeup, little blonde hair with her boyfriend. What the hell is his name?
Chris Candido.
Chris Candido. Yeah, Chris Candido. And he was the nicest kid. And she came up to me, she goes, Hi, I'm Tammy, and I really think the world of you, and I want to be like you someday. You're really hardcore. You're really a kick-ass bitch, and I love how you don't wear your makeup, and I'm gonna be that someday. And I'm just like, oh, okay, cool, kid. Okay, cool, kid. I said, that's awesome. I said, if this is truly what you want to do, you keep your focus, leave out the noise, and don't listen to anybody and just do your thing. If someone tells you no, you try to find another way, respectfully, but you do it. And holy shit, there she was. There I was in WWF one day, and here she comes.
It's amazing how it's just full circle like that, right? And now,
yeah,
unfortunately.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing with that. It's unfortunate. And Sunny's, I mean, Sunny is a smart girl. She's intelligent. If you were to talk to her as a friend and you talk, she's a smart girl. She just made bad choices. And I just hope this time she can turn her life around. I really do. It's unfortunate. We can sit there and talk bad. Oh my God, this is horrible. What a bitch, what a slut, what this or that, whatever people freaking call her. But remember, there were dudes doing this way before her, tenfold. They were raping chicks. They were drugging girls and shaving their heads. Why isn't you or somebody saying something like that? Why is it just Sunny? Oh my God, that's unfortunate. What about the guys? They drugged girls. That's not acceptable. And we still brush it off and don't even talk about it because, oh, oops, shh, that's under the rug. But if it's a girl, oh my God, she was drinking and she killed somebody, and that's freaking awful. What she did was wrong, and she needs help. But I'm sorry, when you put drugs in a girl's drink and shave their head, and you do lascivious acts to them, and you're still out there and pretty prominent in our world, that's just the that's our effing business, and it's bullshit. Yeah. So I'm just gonna quit right there.
No, I agree with you. I understand double
I
standards.
don't think
on so
Sunny
many
ever
different
drugged
levels.
anybody. And shaved their head and did lascivious acts. Maybe she made choices on boys and dating and having sex. That's her. She's an adult, right?
Love potions.
Whatever.
That was her drug.
Okay, and she was good at it.
Yeah, see. I know we're gonna wrap up really soon, but I just got a couple more for you.
No.
So, dang. All right, I'm out of here.
Okay, bye. I gotta tap a kidney soon here. I gotta go. So, okay, give me one. What do you got?
All right, so I got one more. So, when do you really think the image of a female wrestler transitioning into a more sculpted figure such as Bianca Belair and Camille really started taking the forefront of professional wrestling?
Well, that started all the way back from June Byers. You know what I mean? So, it's the individual and how they choose and what they choose to do with their time and who they are. It's very hard to see through smoke and mirrors and bullshit and 20 people telling you different things. But basically, you've got to go with your gut on a lot of decisions, because my gut, my instinct has been my moneymaker. And I've gone with my instinct almost on everything. And that we're like animals and we're like wolves. It's your answer. Your heart will totally screw you up because it's so wishy-washy and it hurts and it's happy and that's your heart. But your gut, when you walk into a room of people and you kind of scan the room and you feel something here or there, guess what? that is real. That's something telling you, hey, there's something going on here, or hey, need to look out for this person, or hey, there's keep your head on a swivel. And so in this business with a Camille or a Bianca Belair, which are two great talents, by the way. When I first met Bianca when she was back in the performance center, I remember telling her, I'm like, girl, you got it. You're going to be a superstar. You keep going, you keep doing what you're doing and keep level headed, and you be true to you and what's real, and not kind of get lost up all in the, you know, oh, you're so great, atmosphere. You're going to go a long way. And
Happy to
Camille
be
can
here.
too. Yeah, and Camille can too. Camille needs to, she needs that next, that needs that she Camille needs that next level of push to get her to that next level. So even to see her, I work with the NWA. I'm one of the producers there, and helping her is amazing. But again, everyone grows, right? Everyone deserves to go and challenge themselves and do other things. So I think Belair is on a way to big things.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. And Camille is too, but she's got to fast track it.
Of course. And I think that we're just scratching the surface on both of them too. So we're talking right now, The Woman Who Would Be King. That is coming out in April, correct? There's the crown right there.
See. Yeah, the end of March of 2023. You can get the book now on Amazon for pre-sale to, hold your spot for a book. So that is on Amazon.com. The Woman Who Would Be King, the Madusa story.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to reading it.
Thank you.
I sure as heck look forward to reading it. Need to read more, and this will definitely get my foot in the door to do so, because I just love learning about people. Oh, I love it. Absolutely. So we appreciate you coming onto the show and just talking with us.
You.
And we definitely want to spread the word about how amazing you've been, and just I love this was just a highlight.
Let me put on my glasses so I can see what you really look like. Oh my God. No, just kidding.
I do the same thing.
Handsome young man.
Yeah, let's see about that.
Oh, whatever. Your wife.
I'm
lucky,
married.
You're lucky to have your wife. No,
I am for sure. She knows that too. She looks at me and she just snarls every morning, so it's nice.
Whatever. I wish you much success and keep doing what you're doing. Very appreciative, and thank you for your time. So I'll look forward to this. And again, they can catch me on all of my social media, which is Madusa, and Madusa across all platforms, blah, blah, blah. So
absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, our pleasure. Thank you guys for tuning into the Transatlantic Wrestling Talk Show. And once again, just keep on loving wrestling with us. Take care.